Hey guys, what's up? Nate here. So a new report shows that Facebook and Snapchat are going to be the two biggest hit by the iOS 14 update, and Facebook has changed their page view on public figures, where they are now getting rid of likes and moving in with the idea of followers. We're going to talk about those two things today. But first, guys, on this channel, I talk about scaling online businesses, on the latest news happening in the marketing industry, and the best practices to do when building a business online. So if those are things that interest you, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. All right, let's go ahead and let's talk about these changes. Recently, I made a video talking a little bit about iOS 14. I called it the Facebook reset. I talk about the changes that are happening with the new iOS 14 in terms of Facebook ads. So I will post that link down below if you would like to go and watch that video, or I will post it up above if you want to check that out. But as a really simple recap, it's called the IDFA update on iOS 14. Essentially, there is a unique serial code inside of each Apple device, and that unique serial code is changing, and Apple is kind of, I don't know, I want to say doing away with that, but they're rapidly changing the way that serial code is tracking data. And that is the serial code that is given to advertising companies to be able to better track information on your phones and just what you're doing, and be able to better feed you ads and make them more accurate. Well, with this new update, it essentially gives people the option exclusively and specifically and very obviously to opt out of any sort of tracking on your Apple device. Now, I believe this is something that has already kind of been there, but it's a lot harder to find. So it is going to be more patently obvious that you can get out of this, but at the same time, it seems like basically marketing companies are not going to be getting as much information as they did before. Now, I think there are already efforts by Facebook that are being put in to combat this, because the thing is mainly Facebook's argument is that, you know, without being able to give people the right suggestions and without being able to get accurate data to be able to feed ads to people, well, this would hurt a lot of advertisers and especially a lot of small businesses, because small businesses don't have the large advertising dollars to be able to put into ad accounts. And so in order for them to get in front of more people effectively, the right types of people, that's something that can be very important for them, and it's going to possibly raise costs for those small businesses, and it's going to hurt them in being able to scale. Now, this, I think, will mainly hurt Facebook and Snapchat the most, given this report by MKM Partners, if I'm saying that right, if I'm remembering it right, is because Facebook and Snapchat are two of the biggest companies that actually utilize this method. So not every advertising company actually collects data the exact same way. And I think Google combated this very good when they kind of set up their own system in place in order to track this data. Instead, Facebook and Snapchat kind of leaped on this train instead of setting up their own system. And so that's why I think they will be impacted the most. I think that other companies will be affected, even so they don't specifically use the same method. It's still going to affect them, but it's going to hurt Facebook and Snapchat the most. And in turn, if this continually goes through, then it will probably hurt a lot of small businesses. Now, Apple, which I agree with Apple on this, because I think data is very important, is they really just want people to have the opportunity to control their data. And that's the most important part of it. And that's something that I really enjoy about Apple. And, you know, as we move towards, you know, a more regulatory stage of where internet is going in terms of data, where data is becoming actually way more important than what people thought, Apple is just trying to give people that actual control. But at the same time, I think in turn, this will sort of hurt small businesses along the way. But at the same time, it's important to realize that there are other channels out there, and something that I've always talked about on my channel. There are other channels out there. It is important to start thinking about not having Facebook as your one-stop shop for advertising, but start thinking about other platforms like YouTube, and like we still have TikTok right now. So TikTok is still a reasonably valuable option, and Google, just the entirety in and of itself. You do have those options as well that won't be as heavily affected, and which I think can still be very effective in your marketing. In light of these changes with data and just more accuracy, I wanted to talk about a new change that Facebook is doing on public figure pages on their platform. They are removing the viewability of likes and instead putting in the viewability of followers. And I wanted to talk about this because I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast this morning with Tristan Harris. He was a former Google data executive and has worked a lot with just data with businesses across the world. That whole idea of likes and how when the algorithm, was originally constructed, that whole idea of likes was put out there. That was a function that quickly became sort of a social, I guess you could say, currency in the way that people then started to read more posts that had more likes on it or less likes, and the algorithm basically started to become adapted to those posts that had more likes. And in the same way, a lot of people have been craving likes for popularity on their pages as some sort of social standing to how popular they actually are. And so it seems like over time, Facebook has started to make more of a de-emphasis on basically the efficiency of likes and how accurate it actually is. And so likes can still be important. If something has more likes, you're probably more likely to see it on your page. But in terms of something, the grand scale of things, when you're looking at any other platform and you're talking about like YouTube, you got subscribers, and Twitter, you got followers. The whole idea here is to say that, likes on a Facebook page might not be the most accurate description, especially for a public figure or a personal figure that is on the page, or a personality. Likes might not be the most accurate indicator for the actual effectiveness or reach or standing of a page. And so this is something that I think is really good, because I think it gives more accuracy to the idea of who these people actually are. And I think this is a kind of practice that they're installing to try and get rid, because there are a lot of fake profiles that are coming out that I think can pretty easily get likes. And so I think this is something that could get rid of those people that are spamming or fishing for information and just copying accounts. And so given that this was such a key metric for so long, it became something that just people really sought after in terms of popularity. And so the whole point of this is just to make people think more about what they're liking. Whereas somebody might just randomly like a page. It's not something that's very hard to do. It's very easy. And the algorithm might see that as something that is very valuable. But I think it's a lot harder. It takes more effort to actually think about following somebody. This is something that you're actually following. You want to hear the information rather than just liking the page. It's not a very accurate indicator. And so the whole idea behind this, and I think this goes well with the idea of the social dilemma and how different social media platforms use the algorithm in order to predict what we're going to want to see next and the ads that we're going to want to see next. And on Twitter, when you hop on Twitter, the feed that you are seeing, and every time you flick that thumb, it is giving you more, posts that are similar that you've either liked before, or other posts that you have seen that have read that have lots of likes. And they're going to show you those posts already that have lots of engagement going on them. So I think this is a move in the right direction to give more accuracy to what people are actually doing. And it gives people a better sense of the idea that maybe they should be more more frugal with how many likes and shares and stuff they're putting out, and actually put more thought into what they're doing online. So I think this is a good thing. I don't think it's going to hurt any public figures or anything like that. But it is interesting that given that we, like I said, we are moving into that more regulatory stage of the internet where things are changing really quickly as the internet continually grows, and it's pretty much not originally probably what it was set out to be. This is kind of just another step in that direction of helping people, from Apple control their data, but also on Facebook, giving people the greater option or the greater accuracy of what's actually going on. So those are the two things that I wanted to report on today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are staying safe out there and having a good start to the new year. If there's something that you would like for me to speak more on, please feel free to comment down below and subscribe if you haven't, because I would love to give you guys more value on this channel. Thanks guys so much. Until next time.